busy.
My say it again.
Your background is busy.
I just
There's
have the
no
happiness tribe up. You don't see the happiness tribe?
no. I'm saying there's noise on your end,
Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold on. Let me take care of that. Hold on.
and we are live. So I'm just gonna be ushering our guests in the meantime. And it looks like I also forgot to add myself. This is interesting. I'm not on stage, right? Or you can see me.
No, I can't see you.
That's interesting.
No, I cannot see you.
I'm not
It's
sure
just
why I'm not on stage.
yeah, it's blank. I see you. I see the box there for you, but it's just not showing you. Yeah.
I think when I removed the other item, it removed me. And now, if the worst thing I can do is if I kill it, it's gonna kill me. As
Oh no.
in, we're just going to change the whole. If I drop it to restart, then people will not get the link.
Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Invite guest. So what do we do? Should we carry on or I redo it?
Maybe we better carry on. What do you think?
Yes, let's just carry on. Maybe I'll
Okay.
figure out how to.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. This is the Happiness Tribe. Super excited. We had taken a little break and we're back and back with a lot of good energy. Because some
Yes.
of us had a little vacation, which is very nice.
Mhm.
So this is Miss Kim with your usual The Happiness Tribe Sunday podcast, when we bring for you all the good things that make you start your week with a bang. So join us, bring all the smiles, all the good things that have happened to you. We are live on YouTube, and if you're watching us from the link on LinkedIn, please leave your comment. We'll read all the comments. And if you'd like to join us, come to the studio. Let me know. Then I can send you the link. And I have a very awesome guest, my co host today, Dr. Gladys. I'm just going to give her the mic to say hello.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gladys Bolding. I'm very a proud member of the Happiness Tribe. Like Miss Kim said, we had a little hiatus, an opportunity to, we had some things going on individually, so it gave us a chance to focus on those things. And guess what? Now we are back, and as she said, full of energy. Great conversations. So yeah, so if you want to share something with us, please feel free to reach out and to so that we can bring you on stage. So yeah, so today our conversation is going to be on the joy, using joy as medicine, so the science and spirit of happiness. And that's always a great topic because I think that we're all always looking for happiness. I definitely think we are. That's something that we want to achieve in life. So yeah, so let's go ahead and get the conversation started, Miss Kim.
Thank you, Dr. Gladys. I'm learning from the best. And one of the nice, beautiful habits I've gotten from Dr. Gladys, she likes starting with explaining the topic. So you have the honor, Dr. Gladys, of telling us what exactly does joy as medicine, the science and spirit of happiness mean?
Well, it's basically, I think that it's not something that's just you just actually have. I think it's something that you have to seek. And when you're
Mm.
seeking that, what you get from it is such a great feeling, basically. So it basically, it's like rewiring your mind, and so you can get those hormones going like dopamine, serotonin. Those are considered the happy hormones, and that's what well, it's a good feeling, and that's what gives us this great feeling, of happiness. So I think that's definitely something that we all seek, even though we may have, life happens and different things happen. But I think all in all, as we are traveling this journey called life, that is definitely something that we are seeking, that we look for. And of course, we go through different seasons of things, if you will. And the bottom line is that those particular hormones make you feel that sense of well-being, euphoria, of feeling happy. And again, I really believe that's something that we're all seeking.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gladys. And maybe just to ask before we get a little bit deeper into this conversation, how does this translate to when sometimes what gives you that feeling makes you end up in some of what we might call bad habits? What if your glass of wine is what makes you happy?
It's funny, you say that now. Let me just say, I don't. That's not one thing I like to advocate, and I definitely think that happiness is individual. And I think it's interesting that you brought that up because there are some people that find joy, in drinking wine, and it gives them that state of, like I had mentioned, of euphoria. And then you have some people who use it as a sleeping aid as well. So that could be a form of happiness because you're able to combat insomnia. So I know some people who actually do that. But again, if you're overindulging in something like that, it can affect you, on your health. So that can become a problem. But I do think that happiness, it is individual, and it should be individual. You can't base your happiness on someone else, so it has to be what fulfill you, but you have to be careful exactly what you're using to create that happiness. And I definitely think that too much wine, because I mean, the research already shows that when you drink too much wine, it could be detrimental to you. So there's no doubt about that. So you have to consider that, when you are indulging in those
Mhm.
type of behaviors. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes, I think it's good to have to add that cushion, right?
absolutely.
Yes. So I think we've all gone through the phases we've gone through in life, which what one of the things that I've come to sort of acknowledge and appreciate is as a global village, whatever is happening in a particular place, be it geopolitics, be it like COVID-19, some places, some countries were more affected than the others. But that energy was affecting us all. And this is where we're looking at when we have those kind of issues. When we have sort of just things that really take our joy, and sometimes it's not something that directly concerns me. We need to take a reset because I mean I think when you think about the aftermath of COVID, it left us with, yes, we didn't go to work, doesn't mean that we sort of even got more stressed. I think that actually, yeah, made just the stress levels went up. So it was that thing of, yes, we felt like we were home, not doing a lot of work, but upstairs, I don't think we were okay. How would you address that?
I still find that I'll be honest with you. What I'm seeing is that some people still have a COVID mindset. I'm seeing that in the workplace. When you see how a lot of people are being called back to work, they've gotten accustomed to, being at home. But, you have to understand, the bottom line is that things change, things evolve. I mean, so you can't get accustomed. That was a great opportunity for some people who wanted to be at home, to work from home, to actually do that. However, nobody ever said that this was going to be the way it would be for the rest of your, time with that particular company or something. And I find that, it comes down to people have a hard time just changing. I mean, sometimes you have to savor that time that you have and take full advantage of it and be grateful. I didn't have a hard time because, I don't have a problem evolving, and I'm accustomed to change. That's pretty much been a part of me. So even when during COVID, I was working hybrid. I appreciated the time that I did have at home, but I also was going into the office. So I never was fully remote, however, but what I find is that people have a hard time making change. That word change, that's what it comes down to. We have a situation now at my place of employment where they're calling people back into the office, and a lot of the people live quite a distance. I'm talking about like a couple of hours out, so the commute is not feasible for them. So they're giving them a little time so that they can find other employment. But that's just the way the world is. It's going to change.
Mm.
I don't think you should ever get too comfortable. What you need to do is savor that time that you have doing something that fulfills you, because a lot of people found joy in that, being able to be at home, But the reality is it was because of a situation like COVID. So COVID is now considered to be over. It's over. But like I said, that's a mindset. You have to be willing to change, and especially with everything that's happening to society, we're living in a state of change. You see
Yeah.
that with the evolution of technology, and let me tell you, and if you're not willing to make that change, then you're really going to be left behind no matter what. Because if you're not willing to return, they already said, okay, well, you're not going to have a job. Are you willing to risk your livelihood? I mean, and not to say that those opportunities are not still out there, but they're not as prevalent as they were before. And the thing is, it doesn't matter whether they're prevalent or not. If that's what's required for you to continue your employment with that employer, then you have to do it. Otherwise, you have to find other means to manage your responsibilities.
That's very true.
Mhm.
And yet, as much as change is the only constant we have in life, it's inevitable. But some people struggle more than others. Now,
Yeah.
Dr. Gladys, if we could look at the solutions, I'm looking at this here where we have, oh, Madam Grace. Okay, oh, it's gotten
Oh,
better.
awesome. Awesome. Hi.
Oh,
Hi, Miss
hi.
Grace. Great.
I was having the hardest time, technology boy. Okay,
Uh-oh. Yeah.
I'm here. How are you guys? Good
Oh,
morning.
doing well. Happy to have you here on stage.
Yes,
Mhm.
happiness is the topic of the day, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And I'm feeling so cheated. The way I did my makeup, my red lipstick is on. Now you ladies are looking so glamorous there, and I don't know what tech has decided on me. Okay, let
We
me
have
eat my humble pie.
yeah.
I just gonna go on with this. Yes, Miss Grace, please say hi to our audience and tell us something about happiness. We haven't gone so far, but the topic is how do we rejuvenate ourselves? And obviously, looking into, as we look at the science of happiness, we were getting into looking at what exactly gives us joy as a person and how do we nurture that so that when the chips are down. We discussed COVID. Some people have been able to get over it, some people are still struggling. Geopolitics, generally, there's just a lot of issues. But sometimes could be the tools we build that we work on that some of us are able to bounce faster than some of us. So the mic is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, joy, happiness. I think it's like one of those things that is really underrated until it's vividly visible in our lives through our health conditions, through our family dynamics, throughout, every aspect of our lives, right? Especially when it comes down to our mental health. Um, and I think, like many of other things that concern our health, I think we have to consider joy and happiness before it's too late. You know what I mean? Not too long ago, I had this discussion of with somebody about depression and what that means. And a lot of people do not know that they have it or that they are dealing with it until it's already too late, kind of sort of situation. So it creeps up. So I think also, if we think about the longevity of life, and how people, there's actually a study on that, and even like documentaries I watched on this, where people in different parts of this world speak of joy as part of their longevity, as to why they live so long. So I think, again, happiness and joy to me go hand in hand. There is no happiness without joy, and finding the joy in everything is kind of sometimes difficult. Um, you know, it's it's something we really have to embrace in every aspect of our lives, and kind of find a joy in everything we do, whether it's work, whether it's our hobbies, whether it's our families, or whether it's our, you know, um, anything really, you know. So I think it is a great topic to talk about and bring awareness. And I think it is also a huge thing to do to prevent anything from illnesses and mental illnesses, physical
Mhm.
illnesses, and all these kind of things. Heart disease is one of the things that is, I think, if I'm not wrong, I just recently heard that the number one silent killer. Uh, and a lot of that is also outside of diet is stress,
Mhm.
and not finding the joy in life and not having it at all in some cases, right? Or very little. So yeah, I think it can be a struggle to find that, and I think it's we just have to embrace for some. I know I have been accused of a friend of mine a long time ago, and she was telling me like, "Oh, you laugh through everything. You would think you don't have nothing to worry about in this world." Da, 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 da. And that's not necessarily the case, right? Because so, but yeah, I'm just gonna pass on the mic to you guys. I feel like I could go on and on this topic.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on something that you said, especially when it comes to stress. Definitely there's research that confirms that stress could definitely lead to health issues. And another thing, based on what you were saying, I think that you have to be intentional about being happy. I think because
Mhm.
we're all going to experience things in life, and I know that it's important to me when you hear people say protect your peace. That's basically
Yeah.
what you're saying, protect your joy and your happiness. And I think that's important. I don't care who it is, whether it's family or any outsiders. I try not to let that impose. There's sometimes things can affect you for a minute, but you have to put a stop to it and say, okay, I don't want to continue this way. I know I don't want to walk around being unhappy. It doesn't make me feel good. Okay. And like I said, it already affects you, your health, but and that, like you were saying, a lot of times people will say, "Oh, you just walking around all happy." It has nothing to do with it. Of course, things happen. Just like I don't share certain things with people because what actually you're going to do for me is just nothing but gossip for you. But you know what I'm saying? So I keep
Yeah.
things to myself for that reason, because if you can't make a difference in the outcome, then what is the purpose of even telling you what the situation is? So
Yeah,
I
I
just deal
agree.
with it.
Yeah, and it's funny. I feel like what you're mentioning is so so important because I know, like even just in our siblings dynamics and things like that, different people work through different ways, right? And some people share, some
Yeah,
overshare. That's them
right.
offloading, right? And
Yes.
then others are like very introvert, like they take it all in, and and they don't want to share at all. I think there needs to be a balance probably on that
Yeah. Yeah.
because you know first of all, you want to be careful about who you share your stuff with, which
Yeah.
sometimes you know I know I can be a little bit too trusting sometimes.
I think we. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you just like spill and spill into the wrong people, and that costs you even more stress now because now you shared too much with somebody else. uh,
Right.
Very good point you brought up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just like, let me give you another example. So, I was just really, and I don't mean overwhelmed in a bad way. I just had a whole bunch of exams in 1 week, and that was like about, I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. I think it was a week ago. I had like a whole week just filled with exams, and so it was like they wanted to impart some negativity on me, and they were saying, well, what's going on? I was just saying, oh, I just have a bunch of exams, so they assumed that I was drowning. I said, no, no, no. I'm not drowning. My head is still above water. I'm just trying to stay there. You understand? I wasn't drowning. I know how to prioritize. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying I was not drowning. So I just wanted to make sure.
That's what
Yeah.
they call preventive measures right there, right?
There you
Like,
go. There you go.
I
Yeah.
want to prevent from getting there. I'm not
That's right.
yet. So, but yeah, no, and that's the thing too. Some people thrive. That's kind of some sort of like a happiness. Like I get in the moments where I want a lot of work. If I'm still like I'm bored, I need things to do, right? Like not all the time, but a lot of times. So I'm always sometimes finding myself like, ooh, I took on a little bit too much here and there, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta definitely set boundaries as well. I think that's a very good point, actually. Knowing your limits, preventing that. And I think another thing that a lot of people talk about is the power of no. And we hear that in so many, especially like, mental health being such a big deal right now, and everybody not being a big deal right now, but like in a sense of like being spoken about openly on different platforms, and there's such an awareness about mental health, that I feel like, the power of no is becoming, very loud, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
right? To say
Mhm.
no is okay. It's okay to say no. Um, and I don't think it comes natural for some, you know what I mean? So it's a challenge for me. I'm like,
Yeah. I hear you.
yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. Do you get to feel like some of these things goes with age? Like when we're young, we're scared of being judged if we say no. As
Yeah.
we age, and one of the things that you have mentioned that I'm so proud of myself, I'm learning to cultivate that. It's guarding my peace
Mhm.
and saying no, even when I know the world will judge me,
Yeah.
and feeling nothing about it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good.
like do judge whatever you want to, however you want to. But right now, I'm not in the frame of mind to deal with X issue that does not concern me so much. You
Yeah.
get it? Be
Mhm.
it family dynamics or friends, especially in the African culture. So we have this thing of we really mourn our dead, and it doesn't matter I knew you or I don't, but I have to mourn you.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
expected, yes, I'm expected to. And those are some of the things I've really struggled with since I lost my mom. Like I'm not okay with funerals. I'm not okay with, and I know this has been 5 years. So some people just go like, come on, girl, you need to move on. But I've realized, no, I need to do me. If I don't want to be part of that gathering, I need to guard my peace
Yeah.
and being very and just going like I'm just gonna be okay with I'm sorry, but I can't join you. I'll try to do something else because people still need you. So let's look into joy is not just a feeling, it's medicine for body and brain. Dr. Gladys, do you want to take us through that slide?
So yeah, so when we're talking about the nervous system reset, so joy calms your nervous system, setting heart rate and signaling safety. So let me just say that that kind of like falls up under the autonomic nervous system, where, for example, let's say if you're in a situation of fight or flight, so that's when you could feel like you're in danger or something. So that's going to increase your heart rate, and that's going to it's preparing your body for a fight or flight situation. That's what's happening. Okay, if it's sympathetic nervous system under the umbrella of autonomic nervous system. So at that point, you're not at rest. Okay, you're not feeling joy or anything. You're preparing yourself to really protect yourself. So in the case of like, more than likely you're not going to urinate, there's not going to be any digestion taking place or anything like that. However, now when you go up under that umbrella of the autonomic nervous system and you're looking at the parasympathetic nervous system, that is the time when you're resting, when you are sitting down. You could be reading a book, watching TV, digestion is taking place. If you have to urinate, that's where you are calmer. So that's the part of the nervous system that we're talking about there. So your heart rate is not rapid, it's at a regular pace and everything like that. So I would say that under the parasympathetic, that's where you're going to find more joy, because you're, for lack of a better word, you're chilling. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's how that falls up under there. Anybody else have anything they want to say about that?
No, that was very enlightening to me. This is very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Um, yeah, we learning, right? Like I think, that's kind of the thing. Like there is more to it than just the spoken word per se. There's a deeper, um, physical, mental
It
part that
is.
goes on with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Miss Kim, you have anything you want to add to that?
No, it's pretty clear. It just the next one has a big word. I can't read the big word. It's for doctors.
Are you saying vagus nerve activation? Is that what you're saying? Or
Yes.
inflammation? Which one? Okay, yeah. So let me just mention that, what they're finding with inflammation is that it could be, detrimental, but let me just say that inflammation is a part of the healing process. And I mean that in the sense, if you have some type of injury or something, inflammation
Mhm.
sets in because the whole idea is to protect you and to try to heal that particular site that has been damaged. And I mean, like I said, if you have some type of wound or something like that. What's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of white blood cells. Your immune system kicks in, and it's going to bring, different types of molecules to the site to help with the healing. The thing is, you don't want inflammation to continue because it could be detrimental. Because, think about it. You're bringing all these cells, these white blood cells, and it's almost like, I call the immune system your military because it's there to protect you. So, it's almost like your immune system is throwing grenades and bombs and all different types of things to help protect you, but you don't want to overdo that. Too many of them could be detrimental. So that's why you could see where it could, reducing inflammation could be beneficial. So that, because they're seeing now that it could, if it's overdone, that it could be detrimental to the individual. So that's what they're talking about there. Okay. And then when we talk about, any questions about that? Anybody want to
No,
add
I
to
just
that?
said, no, sorry, I just said that's interesting. I actually didn't get to understand exactly what that is.
Yeah, so that's what they're talking about there. And then when we look at resilience building, so positive moments build resilience, helping you born back, bounce back from stress. So I think that we all can respond to this because you know building resilience. First of all, not everybody is good at that. Is some people get stuck for whatever reason, whether it's, it could be, mental, it could be, I was just talking with someone yesterday. It's really interesting that this is brought up because she was telling me that there was someone that she knew who held on to his father's clothing for 3 years since he had passed, and he had to go get some assistance in order to release it.
Oh,
So
wow.
some people just get stuck. I don't know. Let me ask you. I was thinking about it when she said it. How much time do you think is okay to hold on, to someone's stuff after you've lost them? I mean, I don't know. I couldn't, I thought about it and I really didn't know when would be a good time. I'm just curious. What's your thoughts on that? You lose a loved one or someone. How long do you think you should hold on to their belongings before you remove them? I'm just curious.
Well, I don't want to jump the gun, Miss Kim, but the I don't know if she was ready to speak about that. um, the so to me, it's the mental state behind holding on to it.
Right.
For example, I know we have stuff from someone we loved that has passed on as memory that we keep close. I'm a picture person, like pictures of people that I cared about and that are no longer with me. I love that, right?
Right.
So but actual physical, I know, like, there are different people in my family members that keep on and keep their belongings to memorize them and keep it, but it doesn't have that negative weight that drains you. It's more so a celebration. It's more
Okay.
so like, you know, this was part of him. This is part of me. It's something that makes him feel closer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes it's something maybe you can wear, or sometimes it's just something, you know what I mean, to display or hold or have, right?
Mhm.
That's going to last forever. I do believe there is a sentimental attachment to it that is not negative, you know
Mhm.
what I mean, and not draining and not, heavy on your mental health and emotional health. Um, Now, if you are holding on to things because you feel like the minute you let that go, they gonna go, or I don't know, there are some other, I'm sure, psychological reasons why people hold on to things that, it's not my field, but I do imagine and I do feel that this is like very draining on your soul and can really take you down the road of like instability, to say, for lack of word, whether it's depression, anxiety, etc., right? Or other health issues. So I think it's the intent behind it and the reasoning behind it,
Yeah.
as to why you hold on to those things.
Yeah, that's a good point. Miss Kim, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I strongly believe you should not put a calendar on grief.
Yeah.
It's very personal, and we all grieve differently.
Yeah.
I've seen, like my sister lost her baby, like a 10 months baby, and she only spoke about it or even opened the suitcase where the baby's clothes were 10 years later.
Mhm.
And we knew, if you asked me, I would say no, she healed, but that part she wasn't ready to open that part of her life. We deal with grief differently. I treasure and keep everything that I took from my mom's wardrobe.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's so precious to me. The scarves, her dresses, even some that don't fit me. I have my dad's shirts that are just so precious to me. And it's
Yeah.
not every day that I want to wear them or to see them, but these are also, to us, it's sort of like a tradition. Like my children are endeared to them, and I'm gonna pass them on. So I
Yeah.
feel the closeness. I feel like my parents are here when I have, and I wouldn't say, I don't know, I wouldn't say that sort of explains because I'm still heavy. I think I've totally let go when it comes to my dad. I don't think I've let go when it comes to my mom, but it softens with time. We just have to. For me, I choose to see all the beauty in it. The just to be very grateful that I had a mom who left me as a mature person who put all the good, solid foundations that I'm able to raise my kids. So, and I
Yeah.
think it's in everything in life. If we choose to see beauty, because I mean, this is life. Things will happen
Yeah.
again and again. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I don't think you should put a time on it either. I think, because there's something, if it's a loved one and, you sort of still want to have that connection in some way, you know what I mean? Even though it may not be physically that they're present, but I totally agree. That's why I was wondering what you thought about that. Cause I really couldn't, cause I was like, how can you tell someone when it's time to get rid of something? You still have to live. I get that, but you still want to keep those memories, especially if they were really special memories. So I totally agree. And one thing I just want to mention when we talked about the vagus nerve, I just want to mention to you, I already mentioned about the parasympathetic nervous system. Well, that particular nerve is a part of it, so it calms you. I just wanted to bring that back. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So it calms
Mhm.
you. I mentioned the inflammation because that's such a big thing, but I forgot about the vagus nerve. So it functions in that particular part of the autonomic nervous system.
That is so fantastic. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's very important to know, right? Like, what is our body doing
Oh
in the
yeah.
back end, right? It's like, I mean, we use our computers every day and stuff like that. And, we know certain things about the insides of a computer, whatever. But when it breaks down, we have, I know this may be like a very inhumane comparison.
It's no, it's okay. It's okay. Whatever
I don't
connection.
know, I'm thinking about it. I may not be. I'm around tech too much, I think. Like,
But you see, that's the joy of life. You
Okay.
know, like we still had so many jokes. We were passing and laughing so hard when my mom passed on, when my dad passed on, and I think it's just being human.
Yeah.
Somebody just comes and says something, and you get some. And I feel like, for me, I don't even think that people go anywhere. Their spirit is here, so they're sending those jokes to make sure that we can still balance life and be joyful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is fantastic.
So, Dr. Gladys, do you want to tell us about dopamine release?
Yeah, so basically, when you are happy, these are the particular, hormones that are actually released, and they may even refer them as neurotransmitters because of the fact that they're coming from the brain. So that provides you with that feeling of happiness, and so you have to do something to, bring about that stimulation or that release, and the same thing with oxytocin. I'm surprised that serotonin isn't up there, but serotonin is also known as one of the happy hormones as well. Now, what I know also when it comes to oxytocin, that's of course it has to do with bonding and everything. And I see here, but also oxytocin is also one of those hormones that's actually stimulated when a woman is going through a labor with children, but
Mhm.
they found, because you'd be surprised, a lot of these different hormones and neurotransmitters, they don't just have one function. They could have various functions. And so that's just happened to be one. But yeah, so that's what that is, the dopamine, even serotonin and oxytocin, because oxytocin is more of the bonding type. So that's what happens, and that's what gives you that joy. Is the release of those particular those chemicals in your brain. Hmm.
That's interesting. Can you explain a little bit on that hormone that's released when a woman is giving birth?
I'm sorry, say that again.
You're saying there's one hormone that's released when a woman is giving birth. What's the role?
Oh, okay. So that's the oxytocin. So what it does is it's a positive feedback mechanism. And when you have a positive feedback mechanism, that means that the stimulus is enhancing. It's getting greater and greater and greater. Okay. So the
Mm,
whole idea of having the oxytocin actually increase the contractions is to expel the baby. So
interesting.
yeah, see, that's what that is. So that's how that works. So that's why a lot of times I teach this in anatomy and physiology, and that's what we refer to it. But we do mention sometimes that it's a bonding hormone as well. But a lot of times, because if you think about, so it's a positive feedback mechanism, that means that the signal is greater. If it was a negative feedback mechanism, it's almost like your thermostat. You set your temperature, let's say at 70 degrees. Okay, if it goes above, then your air conditioner comes on and brings it back down. That's a negative feedback mechanism. But oxytocin is a positive feedback mechanism. That means that it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until, of
Mm.
course, you expel the baby, and then that would, take it back. So it's not a negative; it's a positive feedback mechanism.
Is that the same for humans and animals?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know about animals. I know it's for humans. I don't know. I really don't know whether that. I'm gonna be honest with you. We are considered animals, but I'm not sure whether it applies to.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
I mean,
that's a good question. I don't know because think about it. The elephant carries a baby what for 2 years. We only carry it for 9 months. So I really don't know whether that applies to animals in the wild.
yeah, and some of them really nurture their babies. Well, it's some of them eat their babies after giving birth. I don't know. I can't explain that.
I heard about that elephant population in Botswana too. It's been on the news.
It's the biggest in the world.
Yes.
Like
Hmm.
literally for every one human, there are three elephants.
Oh wow, that's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah,
So
that's a lot.
sometimes it gets too much. We have to do a bit of culling.
Oh
And the
wow.
West want to tell us what to do with the elephants, so we tell them to come and get some for free.
Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, we're
Exactly.
gonna give you some. Yes. So, Dr. Grace, do you want to take us through the next slide?
I got a title.
We all have titles in case you missed the boat.
No, there's only one doctor here, and it's Dr. Gladys. We're not yeah. Um, sorry, can you repeat again, please? I got caught up in
It's
the title. You
in the
shocked me.
title. We've all accepted. Dr. Gladys is willing. She's very kind. She said she can share her PhD. So
Yeah, doctors by association. No need
so,
to work.
Yeah.
so the next slide, we're talking about the spirit is the felt sense that life is meaningful and connected. So I was asking if you could take us through that.
Um, so, and I was not prepared for this. Sorry, I'm trying to.
Okay, I can do it. Then you can take us through the next one.
Okay.
So literally, just in context of the topic, it's where we're looking at spirit as the felt sense that life is meaningful and connected. And I think that's where we always have the superpower of something else that still helps us to keep us centered, to keep us joyful. I wouldn't be very comfortable going so deep in that because does that mean that people who don't have anything they believe in, they're not happy? I think there's a lot of scientific research that's coming up with when we have something, whatever we call it, but a higher power, some super being, something we believe in, whatever you call it, God or whatever you believe in, it gives you hope. It makes you more grounded. It gives you a purpose of being. I'm seeing this new age movement, like it's explaining a lot about that. So, when it comes to shrinking self-concern, opening generosity, are we able, when we have that superpower, something else that's bigger than us, does it help us resize our ego, right? Because those are the things that give us sort of humility, humbles us. And then and I've seen that. I think I got that encounter, like truly come to Jesus moment when I visited the slaves dungeon, the slaves castle in Ghana. It's a life changing moment. You walk out of there and you go like, I don't think it's possible for you to go through this experience, and then you start doubting if it's God, because how do these people? How did they survive? And it just humbles you. It just makes you get into you when sort of when you leave the castle, you're sort of transfixed. You sort of elevated. I don't know how to explain that feeling, but you're in a state where you're going like, okay, I think some humans are more than humans. How did these people endure this? Because now you've gone through the whole story, and it makes you it sort of, for me, it gave me a lot of gratitude to be here, to think about what our ancestors went through so that we could be here. It humbled me. It filled me with a lot of just think life in a different way. So that is what we're looking into. Like, and that's why for me, when I'm going through it, I love engaging in charity work, which is almost selfish. Like when I'm down to the dumps, I have to go spend time with children's at a children's home. I have to go visit the sick. I do some act of kindness that makes me not look at my problem like the biggest. So I go to somebody else who has more struggles, and I feel good that I made somebody smile in spite of what I'm going through. And when I make that somebody smile, that makes me smile as well. So looking at that, that's where we address as well gratitude that reframes reality. Appreciation shifts focus to abundance, where literally they say we receive more by giving. We think that it's the next person we are helping, but we help ourselves much more. Then ritual creates identity. So the daily habits we create shapes who we are. And those are the things that we try to cultivate in children. Like when you teach your kids, when you wake up, can you first say a prayer? Can you first not touch your phone the minute you hit the ground? Just get on your knees and thank the universe that you hear. Or can you start with drinking a glass of water? Can you start with reading a chapter in your beautiful book that you love most? Those little rituals we cultivate, and it doesn't have to be just for mornings, could be what I call my tools. Like my tools, I walk the dogs. I try to make sure at least 4 to 5 times in a week, I go for a long walk with the dogs. It might look like it's missed. I think actually my dogs walk me. And that just makes me so happy. They'll run into the bush chasing squirrels. They'll think they can chase the flying birds. That just makes me forget everything and much more detox from the gadgets. Because constantly we are on phones, we're on the laptop. That's one day that I'll be out for 2, 3 hours and I will not have my phone, which obviously me and my phone, we're very good friends. So it helps me reset. And we could talk about so many other rituals. I'd love to know what rituals you ladies have created within yourselves, your anchors, your tools. Could it be calling that friend? Could it be going out for dinner? Could it be going on vacation? And then the last one is community amplifies care. So we have shared intentions that foster collective healing. It is so important to be a part of a community because it's very difficult to do life alone. You can't be an island. So and that just goes back to, be it a charitable organization, a work you're doing for the cancer month, that makes you feel that just that energy of relating with others, and they may not be going through pain, but we're creatures of habits, and it's always important for us to be each other's keeper. So what did you pick from that? I think I'm more interested in knowing if you understood my presentation, but no, I'm much more interested in knowing, what are your rituals, what are your anchors, what habits do you cultivate? Thank you. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Dr. Gladys.
I was going to say the same thing to you. Yeah, because you know what, you have to think about it. And I know for sure that I definitely don't like a lot of clutter. That doesn't make me happy.
Mm.
I need to see my way through, in my house, even in my, my work environment, I have an office. I need to be able to see my way through. That brings me, I'm gonna be honest with you, that brings me joy. That's something that I do that makes me feel comfortable. I need to see my way through. Another thing I want to mention is that I like to, sit on my patio. I've mentioned to you before how I have this little fountain. It's nothing special, but the sound of the water, it brings so much joy and peace to me.
Mm,
It really does. And then, vacationing. I mean, just I guess just being around other cultures, learning from the other cultures and everything. I mean, it really exposes you, and gives you a different perspective on things. By me doing this, it really has benefited me as far as my diet. I do a Mediterranean diet. And let me just say, we had a health fair. Well, not we, but there was a health fair at a gym that I attend. And there was some, and I don't know if you've heard of Morehouse. I know you probably have. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but Morehouse is, is a HBCU here in Atlanta. So they partnered with the Y that I am a member of, and they basically took over the whole gym. And they had like first year medical students, and they were doing, glucose levels, cholesterol levels, as well as blood pressure. So they asked me, if I wanted to. I had just finished doing a class, working out. And so I said, sure. So while she was getting all the equipment and everything together, she was asking me about my diet. And I said, why you eat a Mediterranean diet? And she said, okay. She said, well, what about working? I work out like 5 times a week. And then she was asking me, do I eat processed food? Because everybody knows that could cause cancer. And I said, no, because, I really don't eat out unless I'm out of the country or something like that. So she took all of my, the tests with the cholesterol, the glucose, blood pressure and stuff. And, you can say one thing, but your numbers don't lie. And so when she gave me back my results, she said, everything you said was accurate. She said, I probably need to get some pointers from you
right.
because I was being truthful. And so that's important to me, taking care of my health. And I like to share, this information because that's what I do. I educate. So I like to share this information with other people. And I know it works because my husband is a diabetic and that's the way we eat. And he's able to maintain his glucose as well. And I was telling that to her, so my point is, so those are some of the things, really that are important to me, that bring me joy in my health, educating people about things that I know of. I hope that didn't take us off the path, but you were asking me something and that's what comes to mind right now, because that's what I just engaged in recently.
Yeah. It's very important. Everything, our habits that we create and the rituals we create impact our health, in so many ways. And again, even our mental health, which is part of the happiness topic we're talking about. So you definitely way in line with that, not offline. You are right in the center. But how can you make change a ritual? Because the anthem of my life has been for sure change. As you guys know, I'm a child of multiple continents, countries, lived in many cities and states and so on. People ask me, who are you running from? I'm not running from nobody. But the exploration, the newness, the excitement of change, the adapt, a lot of the things are actually part of a kind of become a ritual. So now every time you do have a change going on, you have a ritual that you actually have, right? There's things that you do that are now normal to you. And to other people, like, oh my gosh, I can believe it. How do you do it? I've been in this, house for like 50 years. I'm just exaggerating, but you know what I mean? The, that's somebody else's ritual, right? So my ritual is adapting to changes and to my new environments, new occupational, explorations and things like that. I think that may sound a little bit off for some, and definitely not the norm. But I think that's where I find my ritual from, is whenever something changes, I know how to get in place like a soldier, know what my rituals are, you know what I mean, and adapted things. But also, go ahead.
No,
Somebody?
I was saying that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then with traveling, like you said, Dr. Gladys, is another thing, it's part of who I am. I cannot connect with my family and friends without traveling. It's a must for me. It's not even a choice. As you guys know, my child is in DC, and you guys, when you talk to me, I'm in different type of, even within the country. So that's the the type of life I have. So I think when it comes down to those rituals, they're very, very personal to us, and they don't look the same for everybody. I think we kind of have this vision of like, I'm writing my journal every day and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Yes, that's part of rituals as well, right? That's not wrong, but there, if that's not you, like for example, again, my child, she's a writer, she loves to write. That's not me. I'm not going to write down everything. I'm going to tell you though, I have my girls that are very close to me. One of them is, we've been knowing each other like for over 2 decades, and we yap, and before we know it, that was our, we downloaded, both of us, we just let it go. We share with each other, we have this brutal honesty. you know so, and then we that's it. That's my journal right there. I just did my journal with my girls, um or like very, very close, like family members or something like that. There's very few selected ones that have that insight, right? A few, right? So that's probably my journaling, if you will. And I think it's, everybody has different ways of creating that ritual. I don't know, Miss Kim, what is your ritual? You're asking us.
Yeah, well, actually, it was okay. I said mine. I mean, I think you all know I love to travel. I love my walks with my dogs. Those are some of the rituals I've built within my life. And when you're talking about, we're not the same. So this is a friend of mine who lives in London, happens to be in the city. And so she goes like, okay, so we go like, okay, join me. I'm going for my usual 6 a.m. walk. So I'm gonna pick you at your hotel and go for my walk. And the minute she jumps into the car, she was so furious to see my two big dogs in the car. like, like who does this? How? Why did you invite me for a walk if I'm gonna be with these dogs? And of course, dogs, especially when it rains, they smell. To me, it's not a bad smell. These are big dogs, so they shed fur. But I put some towels on them, but doesn't mean that fur won't get in other places. And they're my dogs, so I'm okay with that. So she says that, and she was just so. If I knew this is what was going to happen, I wasn't going to come for this walk. And then as you go for the walk, they want to jump on you. They want to say hello. They want to kiss you, and she just won't. So yes, I think it's important, but I think also it's very important that we're very intentional about having those rituals. There are things, whether I like it or not, I have to. That's what gives me a week. So there are moments that it's truly a struggle for me to go for my walk, but I know if I don't go for that walk, my week will not be very good. I need my energy. There's times that I have to choose to eat right. It's not easy eating right, and quite often eating right means boring food sometimes, or just quite often. But you have to be very intentional because you're building up, and especially at our age. I don't know if Miss Grace wants to be in that bracket of our age, but at our age is when we start being very sensitive about what we eat, very intentional. Yes, I think we're having a good time. Who would want to take us through this slide? And please tell me, I did my slides in a way like I have enlarged the screen, so I can't see if we have somebody joining us. Do we? We have somebody in the studio.
I don't see anybody.
Okay,
No.
then we don't. Okay, I just had something clicking. Okay.
You would be probably able to see it on your end.
Yeah, it's because of the way I've enlarged my screen. I'm struggling to go back, but I'll find a way.
Maybe if you push the escape button.
Yeah. But I know also the person who could be joining us, Miss Judith, she would WhatsApp me, and I think she's still caught up with her travels.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
So-
Um, Go ahead.
Now I wanted to say, who wants to be a good girl for the next slide?
Well,
Go ahead, Miss Grace, you're up.
throw me off with these lights, that's for sure. All right, let's do this though. 2-minute practices or more. These are actually good pointers. We used to have somebody here that used to visit us here at the tribe who specialized in breathing techniques. And I actually attended her session once for 30 minutes. And, I went in like, mm, very like, well, breathing, what is it? Like I breathe every day. You know what I mean? Not really having high expectations at all, right? Even very little expectations, you can say. But the impact of it that we did for 30 minutes is really, really remarkable. It has definitely made a huge impact, and it really brought out some um, emotional type of things as well. It's a very weird exercise to do, and it seems so simple and nonchalant almost, but I would urge somebody to try that, and for a longer period of time, and go through those techniques. We will see if we can find her info and drop it in the comments here for you guys. But I'm sure you can also look it up on YouTube and things like that. But I mean, the guidance that she provided was remarkable, to be honest. So those, I'm saying that the importance of that technique really became very apparent to me after trying it myself. So if you try it, I would recommend you to do it really the right way, and see what kind of impact it has for you, and really kind of pay attention to the different techniques of breathing as well. Safety affirmations. I think that falls within our mental state and things like that, the constant like anxiety, fear, and things like that. I don't know what helps for you guys. For me, it's my spiritual grounding, because not everything is in our control. A lot of things is outside of our control, and what helps for me is my faith. And I don't know what it is for anybody else. I don't know if you guys want to just jump in here real quick and just quickly say what may work for you guys to feel safe. What is that you lean on outside of yourself? Dun 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 dun. All right, my ladies are on mute. we're gonna move on to the next one. Grounding exercises. Name 3 things seen, 2 things heard, and 1 thing felt, and anchor yourself in the present. And ceremonial sip. I'm not quite sure what is meant by that, but sip your drink mindfully. And I think there's a healing process that goes on with that as well. Let each taste be deliberate. This is kind of like um, a metaphor almost to life, right? Guided by your breath, it says here. It's just basically really taking everything in, and really be present and experiencing every bit of life is what I would translate that into. Kindness question. Ask what makes this moment 2% kinder for me. I don't know about the 2%, but just in general, like, what makes it kinder for me? Then do the small things, right? I am, you know, I have this thing, to assume positive intention and also give, positivity as much as you can. And the other thing is energy is transferable. And again, I just want that to really sink in. Energy is transferable. So if we get kind energy, we're going to get kindness back for the most part, right? Um, and I think that's kind of something to live by. Um, yeah, so that's my contribution to this slide, Miss Kim.
Yes, you did a good job. You aced it 100%. And it's raining in my desert. So I hope you don't mind if we're a bit quicker before lights go.
Sure.
Thank you, Miss Grace.
Yeah, and we don't have to
Talking
go
about
through each part of this. We can kind of go because we are within past our time anyways because it's 11.
yeah.
So yeah, and this also allows us for more discussion for next time as well with the rest of our team. Hopefully, that will be joining us, and they will be able to share more of this topic with us as well. Because the topic of joy is not start today and stop tomorrow, and the same thing for the happiness, right? We want to carry this on. We want to experience it each day. We want to continue reminding anybody who comes to the happiness tribe to whether it's to watch us, listen to us, or hear us, or come to our retreat, right?
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's right. The retreat. There's the bar. That's
Yeah,
right.
we're building on this because we want to, really make sure you guys have the opportunity to see joy through the eyes of the happiness tribe. We try. There is no joy without, all the other negative stuff, right? So it's like there is no sweetness without sour. They say. So we do understand life happens. We understand, the world as it is right now is very troublesome, very worrisome. We do know that, but we're trying to keep the positive energy going. We're trying to transfer as much positive energy towards our viewers that are listening to this as well. And then we created the retreat specifically for that. And all of this stuff that we are talking about now and continue to talk about, we're going to try to embody that for you within that retreat. And hopefully, it will be a very rejuvenating and healing experience that you will be able to take away from that. So, if you want to hear more about the retreat coming up next June, contact us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm struggling to call you Miss Grace. Let's just stick to Dr. Grace. This
How
is
I feel about that.
thank you, ladies. That was lovely. Would you like to give your closing remarks, Dr. Gladys? We can actually continue from here next Sunday.
Oh,
As Miss
sure,
Grace.
sure. Yeah, so I want to thank everyone who, has joined us. I hope that this has assisted you if you are stuck somewhere and unable to find joy. It's you have to start somewhere. Okay.
Mhm.
And whether it's a small ritual, if you get thrown off, you just jump right back on. However, and again, I hope that you stay tuned with us because we will be discussing this even further, as well as our retreat, which could bring a lot of joy. So thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, our viewers. We appreciate your time. And we'll be sharing this on LinkedIn as well. And this is live right now on YouTube, and we'll share on all our other socials. And we look forward to seeing you on Sunday when we unpack the retreat. I think it's still a secret where the retreat will be, so I'm not going to spill the beans. I'll wait for them. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the week.
Oh, you forgot your line.
Which is my closing line? I forgot.
Same time, same day, same right here at the Happiness Tribe.
Thank you, thank you. I'm rushing because the more it rains, the more I get scared that it's anytime we won't have electricity, we won't have internet. But
Yeah,
I'm,
no,
I'm grateful for the rain. Yeah.
we ready to go. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a great
Okay,
one.
cheers. Thanks. Bye.